Who do you think is going to win between Alex and Gane?
Ooh, let the better win. But I believe Alex can do that. When I saw him, like, his weight is going up. He's strong enough to, and in a stand-up, I believe he will be better. But Gane is a lot of movement.
Who do you want to fight next after this one?
Let's be focused for the next week. That's the problem of many fighters, man. They think too much earlier.
But who is the contender, the next contender? Not alive?
I really don't care.
You have a very soothing voice.
He moves a lot, he's fast and I think Alex Pereira will be like most stiff, stable and strong, solid. Ciryl will be more fast, moving around as is his technique. He's good at that. And then it's going to be very difficult to Alex Pereira to even get close to the distance to figure out what he can do, like just to get in the distance. You know, to get close to that, to close that distance, which Ciryl will be managing very good to keep the distance, pick apart, get him frustrated. He's good at that. So I think he's a very good matchup for Ciryl.
And Volkov has good technical ability on the feet, and he beat Ciryl Gane in their last fight and did very well on the feet against him as well. So when he finds someone who can really cut off the cage like Pereira and really punish him, Gane hasn't got the first round finish ability that Aspinall does to make him a threat to a guy like Alex Pereira. He also doesn't really have the offensive wrestling game to make him a threat to a guy like Alex Pereira either. He could get it done. He has good backwards movement. He floats around well on the back foot. He does it better than Jamal Hill. If we're being honest, Gane is one of the rare heavyweights that actually really does have a good technical base for the heavyweight division. He just lacks that KO power and lacks that ability to just nuke someone in the first 2 minutes. He's never really been able to do it throughout his entire career. And I would, off the top of my head, I can't think of a time that Gane has got a first 2 minute of the fight finish like a guy like Aspinall or Ngannou has. But Pereira should win this one.
Who else is going to fight though? The division's on its ass. So there's not many big fights to make, is there? So got to do what they got to do. Ciryl Gane, Alex Pereira. Obviously, I'm going to fight the winner of that. So just waiting now to be given the green light, the all clear from the doctors to start training properly again. As soon as we can start training properly again, full contact in the gym, we will be getting a fight date booked to fight the winner. So just waiting for the clearance to be medically cleared now, and then we go. We'll be looking to book
heavyweights. But Ciryl Gane, in his DNA, is a gigantic, bona fide, legit heavyweight that just so happens to be very, very light on the feet, incredibly fast, can move around, you know, all over the place, shaking and baking, jigging and jiving, moving and grooving, whatever else you want to say, right? Yeah. I think that's a big advantage in this fight here.
Yeah, that's the thing. He kicks so well too. He's not just a guy that's going to be some lumbering heavyweight. I think there's a lot of heavyweights on the roster that Pereira would hands down easily just go out there and KO to death, no problem. This one is a challenge, and I think that's what entices him, whether it was going to be Jones or whether it's going to be Ciryl Gane. You're going for that third belt. If he gets it, you are.
The fight between Ciryl Gane and Alex Pereira is officially on, and fans are completely split over how it will unfold. Some expect Pereira to relentlessly push forward, cornering Gane like a predator and landing that one decisive strike that could end the fight instantly. Others argue Gane's slick movement, sharp footwork, and long-range control will turn this into a tactical, frustrating battle, keeping Pereira off balance and disrupting his rhythm. There's no clear favorite, making this a true clash of styles: raw power versus precision, constant pressure versus agile movement. Many are already questioning whether Pereira can handle the weight class, especially in this division, leaving the matchup wide open and everyone talking.
Is real. Could he 100%, in particular in that division. But nobody has really finished Ciryl Gane, and his movements is very problematic. Pereira also does get hit tomorrow. Now, can you take a heavyweight's punch? Now you're talking about Francis Ngannou power? A real big heavyweight?
You are right, Henry. Ciryl Gane is no slouch. When he was fighting Tom Aspinall, we saw how that fight was starting to look. But listen, I think this is a fantastic fight. I'm not counting anyone out here. I'm not counting Alex Pereira out here because Alex Pereira does have the power to really change things. We felt this way when Alex Pereira said he was wanting to go to light heavyweight.
Francis Ngannou sees Pereira as the bigger, stronger fighter with a solid base. But he points out that Gane moves with the speed and agility of a much lighter athlete, which changes the dynamic completely. Gane stays sharp, constantly on the move, and never just waits to be hit. The real challenge, according to Gane, comes down to distance. Pereira needs to get close to deliver serious power, but Gane excels at controlling space and forcing opponents to chase him. That non-stop movement can disrupt Pereira's timing, and if he can't set his feet the way he wants, it could throw his entire strategy off and leave him frustrated.
It's going to be an interesting fight, though. I think Alex Pereira is very tough. He's big enough. He's a heavyweight. But in this scenario, the position shifted a little bit because Ciryl Gane here come more with a strategy of a lighter person because he moves a lot, he's fast and this. And I think Alex Pereira will be like more stiff, stable and strong, solid. Ciryl will be more fast, moving around as is his technique. He's good at that. And then it's going to be very difficult to Alex Pereira to even get close to the distance to figure out what he can do, like just to get in the distance, you know, to get close to that, to close that distance, which Ciryl will be managing very good to keep the distance, pick apart, get him frustrated. He's good at that. So I think he's a very good matchup for Ciryl.
Gane also dismisses the idea that Gane is only a one-dimensional striker, emphasizing that he's been steadily improving his ground game for years. Even during their earlier match, Gane was already experimenting on the mat, and since then he's continued developing, especially against top-tier opponents. That accumulation of experience has made him far more well-rounded than many realize, and underestimating his complete skill set could turn out to be a costly error.
Well, we will not undermine the fact that Ciryl also is doing it. He's training. He's been very serious on his ground game. He's been involving. He's been improving. Like, by the way, even in our fight 4 years ago, I was impressed that he was trying the heel locks, you know, stuff like that. I know that was something that he could have come up with, but I was so impressed at time. And since then, I think also after the John fight, he went to Dagestan on this wrestling stuff. I think it's a very complete MMA fighter. I think you will be mistaken to just see him as a striker, as this. The fact that he's just such a good striker make people underestimate his ground game and oversee his ground game, you know.
MMA Guru points out that the pressure Pereira brings is on a whole other level compared to what Gane usually faces. It's not just simple aggression. Pereira methodically cuts off exits, controls the cage, and dictates where the fight takes place. He doesn't just chase, he traps his opponents, which is a major challenge for someone like Gane, who thrives on constant movement and resetting. While Gane could manage a technical fighter like Volkov, Pereira is far more explosive and dangerous in every exchange. Another concern is that Gane rarely poses an immediate threat in the first minute or two. So against Pereira, who thrives on constant pressure, he could be forced into difficult striking battles without a reliable wrestling fallback. Gane's movement and technique are still top-notch for a heavyweight, but the big question remains: can he handle the close, high-pressure exchanges where Pereira excels?
Leaning towards Alex Pereira here to get it done against Ciryl Gane. I think he's going to be too much on the front foot, track the cage. I don't think Ciryl Gane's going to be used to a guy with the skill level of Alex Pereira. He's never fought someone with that ability in his life. And Volkov has good technical ability on the feet, and he beat Ciryl Gane in their last fight and did very well on the feet against him as well. So when he finds someone who can really cut off the cage like Pereira and really punish him, Gane hasn't got the first round finish ability that Aspinall does to make him a threat to a guy like Alex Pereira. He also doesn't really have the offensive wrestling game to make him a threat to a guy like Alex Pereira either. He could get it done. He has good backwards movement. He floats around well on the back foot. He does it better than Jamal Hill. If we're being honest, Gane is one of the rare heavyweights that actually really does have a good technical base for the heavyweight division. He just lacks that KO power and lacks that ability to just nuke someone in the first 2 minutes. He's never really been able to do it throughout his entire career. And I would, off the top of my head, I can't think of a time that Gane has got a first 2 minute of the fight finish, like a guy like Aspinall or Ngannou has.
Michael Bisping makes a striking point, suggesting this matchup with Gane is actually more compelling than the Jon Jones fight fans have been clamoring for. It's not that a fight with Jones wouldn't be monumental, but it would likely turn into a grappling heavy contest, with Jones slowing the pace and limiting striking exchanges. Against Gane, however, the fight is expected to stay standing, creating real opportunities for Pereira to land a game-changing blow. That possibility is what makes this matchup so unpredictable and exciting, keeping everyone on edge as they anticipate how it will unfold.
Alex Pereira, interim heavyweight title. Right? I thought it was going to be Jones and Ciryl. It's not. Okay.
Yeah.
I still think it's a tremendous fight. I think in some ways it's a better fight. We said this on the post-fight show. I said it on your YouTube video and people were like, oh yeah, you would say that, company man. No, listen, Jones, it would be a spectacle and it would be great to see Pereira versus Jones. Of course it would. But in terms of, you all just shit and everyone's been shitting on Charles Oliveira taking down Max Holloway. Do you not think Jon Jones would take down Alex Pereira? Of course, that would be the strategy. I'm not saying Pereira can't stop a takedown, but that's what he's going to try and do. Because on the feet, Pereira could very well knock him out. But Ciryl Gane and Alex Pereira, they're going to put on one hell.
Bisping also emphasizes the contrast in size and movement between the fighters, while fully acknowledging Pereira's knockout power. He points out that Pereira can definitely stop heavyweights, but Gane is a true natural in this division, big, comfortable at that weight, and still fast and agile, using his mobility to his advantage. That's where Bisping sees the real edge. Moving up in weight might look good on paper for Pereira, but it can cost speed and put him against someone who's already built, tested, and proven in the division. It's a clear reminder of why weight classes exist and why this matchup is so intriguing.
There's also a reason why no one's become a three-weight division champion.
Yeah, it's
he
so
couldn't
hard.
make 185 by almost killing himself. Now he's going up to heavy, where it's not. I mean, naturally he walks around as a heavyweight, but he's not naturally a heavyweight fighter. So what will happen? He'll be heavier, which will slow you down a bit. He will have, I think, extra power. I still think he can take the shots. I think he's still got the power to knock out heavyweights. But Ciryl Gane, in his DNA, is a gigantic, bona fide, legit heavyweight that just so happens to be very, very light on the feet, incredibly fast, can move around, all over the place, shaking and baking, jigging and jiving, moving and grooving, whatever else you want to say, right? I think that's a big advantage.
Paul Felder also sees this as a much more even matchup, but he breaks it down by how the fight could play out round by round. He notes that if Pereira faced someone like Jon Jones, he'd likely spend a lot of time defending takedowns or being stuck on the ground, which limits his biggest strengths. Against Gane, however, that concern largely disappears. There's much less risk of being controlled on the mat, which shifts the dynamic into a striking-focused battle, giving Pereira more opportunities to find his rhythm and land decisive shots.
No, I think you're right with that it's definitely going to be a much more competitive, much more exciting affair. Whereas even if Pereira had success against Jon Jones, you're right, a lot of that time would be spent at some point defending some sort of takedown or not defending the takedowns and getting taken down, waiting for his opportunity in the next round to be able to strike. This is going to be a big boys kickboxing in there. We saw how good Ciryl Gane looked when he was fighting Tom Aspinall before the eye pokes. He was landing good shots. He's athletic. He can move. These are two heavyweights that can move and can strike. It's going to be a...
Felder keeps his analysis grounded, avoiding any overhype of Pereira and looking at both sides of the matchup. Moving up to heavyweight is a significant jump, where a single shot from the right opponent can change everything. Gane, however, is already accustomed to facing that kind of power, having gone up against big hitters throughout his career. Pereira may still bring his knockout ability, but for Gane, this level of threat isn't new. That's why Felder sees this fight as much more evenly matched than many expect, making it a surprisingly competitive showdown.
This one's surprising. Ciryl Gane, minus 160. It's only a slight underdog, favorite, but still a favorite. Alex Pereira, plus 140. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of accurate. And I think that's a lot of it is we're basing the fact that he's moving up to heavyweight Pereira. He really started off as a middleweight. Now, granted, he's a much bigger man now, and I don't think there's any world in which he could go back down to 185 pounds. But still, you're going from, I was able to make middleweight to now I'm fighting at heavyweight, where these men are huge. And again, Ciryl Gane is used to the threat of nasty.
Oscar Willis focused on where this fight sits on the card and why that positioning changes the way fans perceive it. At first, he thought Pereira versus Gane might be the main event, which didn't feel right for this show. Once he realized it's the co-main event, everything made sense. In that spot, the fight adds serious value, enhances the overall lineup, and brings excitement without forcing one matchup to carry the entire event on its own.
It was interesting. I did not hear it, but I heard this.
I was a bit surprised.
Yeah, I heard this fight was... So on Friday, I was told this fight was the main event, Ciryl and Alex, and I thought that was honestly a disaster for the White House. I did not like that as a main event for it at all.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like it wasn't on the card at all. And then it was suddenly the co-main. And I was surprised by it. And I thought that was a fantastic addition. Like having it as the co-main, I think makes the card. To be honest, it's like the extra fight. I saw Ariel Hawani today. Like to have Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira on the same card is actually a massive deal in today's.
He also examined what a successful performance could do for Pereira. Moving up to heavyweight and scoring a knockout would be a massive statement, instantly boosting his profile and creating a moment fans would remember for years. But the risks are real. If Gane controls the pace with his size, movement, and timing, Pereira might struggle to showcase his best skills, and the fight could drag on without the explosive finish many expect. Gane isn't just bigger. He moves like a lighter fighter while carrying a heavyweight frame, which can disrupt Pereira's timing, especially in the early rounds. Stance, kicking range, and clean shot opportunities all add complexity, meaning Pereira's path to a knockout may not be straightforward. The most fascinating fights to watch